So today I'll show you how to disassemble and reassemble the bolt of any AK patterned rifle. For this we'll need our hammer and two punches. One of the smaller sizes I'm using is 1/16 and this is 5/64. So first we're going to take the bigger punch and remove this pin here, which holds the firing pin. So we're going to flip it around, insert our punch into this hole and apply some pressure. And the pin comes right out. And as you can see, this firing pin is spring loaded. Most of the AKs have free floating ones. So if yours is spring loaded, make sure you point downwards, otherwise this guy's going to come flying. Remove the spring, remove this little ring, and this is how your firing pin would look like if you have a free floating one. So the next step is to remove the pin that holds the extractor. And for this, we're going to come with a punch and push into this hole here. And the pin comes right out. And as you can see, the extractor is still kind of hooked into the bolt. So in order to fully remove it, press here with one finger, use your thumb to push to this direction. And it will come and detach from the bolt. There's a little spring for the extractor too. And now your bolt is fully disassembled. What you're going to do cleaning wise is obviously wipe every part down. Make sure the firing pin has no gunk on it and the hole where the firing pin lives, because if it's too dirty, your firing pin will have problems moving. Either it won't protrude enough or not at all, so you'll have light primer strikes, or none at all and your weapon won't fire. So when it comes to reassembly, grab the little spring of the extractor, put it in its hole, and there's a little detent on the bolt. So what you want to do is line up that spring with that hole and kind of push down and inwards so it hooks into the bolt. Grab the pin of the extractor and we're going to insert it into this hole here, but as the extractor is kind of tilted this way, the holes don't align properly. So what you have to do is push here and here so it's straight and you can actually insert the pin. And what you want to do is insert the pin with the cutout side outwards, and the cutout needs to be on the lower end of the bolt because the pin that holds the firing pin will go through here. So if it's kind of skew, the pin for the firing pin won't go through the bolt. And this guy might need some slight taps on its head, so make sure to press down in here, give it a little smack. And this isn't done yet. It might look done, but if you can feel the pin when you're running your finger over it, it's not fully seated. So make sure to push it in until you can't feel it anymore. And some of them might be a bit stubborn, so for this use case I just use an even smaller pin and kind of go in between and just apply some more pressure. And now it's completely seated. So I run my finger over it, I can't feel the pin anymore. It's nice and flush. The cutout is down here. We're good to go. I'm going to reassemble my firing pin. First I add the ring, then I add the spring. And now the important part, the firing pin has a cutout on this side, and this is where the pin that retains the firing pin will be. So it needs to be in the proper position. And for this, we need to look at the bolt and see that this is where the pin is going to be. So we're going to take the bolt, and the part with the cutout needs to be upwards. We're going to insert it. And since this is spring loaded, I have to detent it. And now I can insert the pin of the firing pin, and I might need to give it a small whack. And if it doesn't go in, probably because it's not aligned. Okay, there you go. So since the firing pin has the cutout on this side, we can drive this pin through, and since we have the firing pin of the extractor the proper way, it actually doesn't catch with that pin. And now everything's as should be, so we can just function test it. This is If it's free floating, just tap it to see if the pin's moving. Now I'm just going to place it on a flat surface. I can see the firing pin moving as I want to. I'm just going to grab a dummy cap to see if the extractor does its job. So the rounds are held in place. I can kind of move it. I can remove the spring, the round, and if I put some pressure on here, I can feel the spring tension. So that's what I'm looking for. Pins are flush on both sides, and your bolt is fully cleaned and reassembled. So have fun.